You asked me a very, a very difficult question on why I was repressed. I also don't know. And I am saying it in good faith. I didn't come here to accuse anyone today, or I only came to set the record straight. No one in the leadership of our coalition, from whichever position, has ever called me in regards to the position, in regards to what I need to do better, in regards to what I need to change, in regards to things that needed to be done in a different manner. It's very good for me to put it into record, because as I said, I was holding this position knowing that I was serving Kenyans, so I am also answerable, and in sincerity say, there is no one who has ever called me, decision makers of our coalition, to say anything around this. I read in newspapers about myself the same way you do. I would just implore upon everyone, because I'm not the first person to hold this position, respectively so. You can do an analysis for the past many years that this position has existed, and then try to see and compare for yourself, because many times it's not good to talk about yourself, because you are likely to be subjective. To be objective, the data is out there, just check. However, on the same, every politician have their own brand of politics. Myself, I do not answer evil with evil. Neither do I answer insults with insults. Basically, we are all different, and I don't want to purport to know better what I am not. And therefore, I am okay as a leader. You cannot continue being provoked and then you dance to the tune. And I also want to say that anger and hatred is too heavy a burden for any leader to carry. And you only carry anger and those kind of other negative emotions to the advantage of distractors. So it is important then, in politics, you draw your line. You know, this is the kind of politics I want to play. Draw that line, whatever it is, follow through. So me, I believe that, yes, we have to talk as leaders, because you have to explain where you are going, where you've come from. I mean, you cannot lock yourself in a room. You have to talk. But in many instances, I find that what is far-reaching and what is permanent and what is objective is more what you do than what you say. And therefore, in terms of what was said and whoever said it last week in Parliament, I would not be provoked to answer evil with evil. Neither will I be provoked to answer an insult with insult. Time answers many things. Time answers so many things. Budget making, as it is in management of leadership, is always work in progress. There is no perfection to it. That's why even the most developed countries keep on having new leaders. Otherwise, they could have finished the work and say, sasa tumemaliza, there are no more leaders to be needed. So there is always it's always work in progress to reach where we are headed. He also asked about the regrets. What I believe myself is that I am the sum total of all my experiences, bad and good. And if I want to remove any bad experience from my CV, that is, as a human being, then I am deserting to be who I am. Therefore, very rarely will I have regrets. What I'll have are lessons to do things better. Not about only doing, to treat people better. And if at some point you feel that you've been wronged, I always believe it's an opportunity for you to know how to treat people better when you are at a vantage point. And therefore, no much regret. If leaders started competing on the basis of what they are doing, the country would become better wholesomely. If our competition as leaders is deliverables, and we compete about who is doing what in terms of tangibles and development, is a very good discussion that you'd have as MPs, for example, because we hold CDF, and that is the reason why we would be glad even to host you. We have hosted, I think, 4 delegations of my colleagues in Kiharu on benchmarking exercises. We actually don't call them benchmarking. We call them peer-to-peer learning, because I also learn from them. I am not a non-knowing, and I also learn from my colleagues a great deal. And in terms of, like the video you see around me wearing some goldish shirt, I'm sure you have seen it. That was on 4th of January last year. It is not a recent video. And we have been doing those things primarily because I think at some point I was not doing the right thing, and at some point I learned. And therefore I feel that if I share my experiences with anyone, and I also learn from them, the management of public resources becomes better. If Kiharu improves, any other Mvita improves, if Ebakasi East improves, if any other constituency improves, then Kenya holistically becomes a better place. Maybe for clarity's sake, the last discussion I had with the president of the country, the last political discussion, either a chat or a discussion as it were, was before October of last year. And I would not want, and you permit me to do that, not to discuss any further about any leader, because as you're all aware, I stopped serving in my position. It's barely a week. I also need to understand many things before I talk, because I believe as a leader, I lead people. There are people who look up to us as leaders. And therefore, even when you see that I am not answering some questions, it's not because I can't answer them. I believe you have covered me previously, and you know for sure that, respectively, in this world I only fear God. So whatever I need to say, I have no reservation of saying. But also, we are given wisdom to say when to say, how to say it. And I believe we are here in Kenya. We'll keep interacting. If there is more to be said, if there is more to be clarified, we are around. Kaemba, I am a human being. So when you see us politicians, we are also people. And it is inherently human to have temporal disappointment sometime. And not disappointment of losing a position, but disappointments of what brings together political friendships. So to be honest, I think that answer suffices.